I cannot think of a worse situation than the one they get into in this movie. Let's do it. 47 Meters Down is about these two sisters, Lisa and Kate, and they're on vacation in Mexico. And while they're there, Lisa reveals that her boyfriend recently broke up with her, so she's not doing too well. They end up meeting these two local guys who tell them all about how they go cage diving with sharks every weekend and they should come with them. Lisa is really skeptical because she's never been scuba diving before, but Kate convinces her to go by saying, hey, maybe this will help you get your man back, as he broke up with Lisa for being boring. When they get to the boat, they meet Captain Taylor and they lie and say that Lisa knows how to scuba dive. And they see this rusty ass cage and still decide that they're going to do it, so they go down. So they get down there and they have radios in their diving masks that allow them to talk to Taylor on board. They see all these great whites swimming around, which is great until the winch breaks and they plummet to the ocean floor. They land at the bottom where they see on the gauge that they are 47 meters down. They're too far to get a radio signal, so Kate decides she's going to leave the cage to swim up a little bit so she can radio to Taylor. Winch landed on top of the cage so she can't get out, so she has to take her mask off to get through the openings. It's very stressful. Eventually, she gets to a point where she's able to speak to Taylor, and he tells her that Javier is going to come down with a cable to attach them to bring them back up. He also tells her she needs to immediately get back in the cage and stay there because of the sharks. The girls are slowly running out of air as they wait for Javier to come save them, and they start to see a flashlight in the distance, and they try to get his attention, but it's not getting any closer. Lisa has more air than Kate, so she decides that she's going to leave the cage and swim over to the flashlight to try and get his attention. As she's doing that, she almost is attacked by a shark, but manages to avoid it by hiding in these rocks. Eventually, it swims away, and Lisa continues to swim towards the flashlight, but she gets to this drop-off where below her it's just dark water, but she still manages to get there. Eventually gets to the flashlight, which is just laying on a rock. There is no Javier in sight, and she gets completely disoriented because around her is all darkness. She starts to swim back in what she thinks is the right direction, and as she's panicking, she runs into Javier. He is promptly eaten by one of the sharks. Lisa is able to grab his spear gun from him and his extra cable and bring it back to the cage. She attaches the cable to the cage and they start to be brought up. But the cable fucking snaps and they plummet down again, and this time the cage lands on Lisa's leg, so she's pinned. So Kate swims up again to talk to Taylor, and he tells her the Coast Guard is coming. They're about an hour away. We're going to send down new air tanks because at this point they're almost out of oxygen. But he warns her the reason I didn't do this earlier is because his second tank increases your chances of nitrogen narcosis. So you guys need to watch each other closely to see if you start to hallucinate. Also, they're both aware that they can't swim up to the surface quickly because they will get the bends. He drops the air tanks down and Kate goes to get them, and he also dropped 3 flares with them. She grabs the other tank and goes back to bring it to Lisa, and as she's doing that, a shark appears and attacks her. Some time goes by, and Lisa starts to hear Kate talking to her over the radio. She's still alive, but she's injured. Lisa manages to use her equipment to get her leg free. She cuts her hand with the spear gun in the process, and she gets out and she goes to look for her sister. She finds Kate, who is bleeding out and injured, and she radios to Taylor and is like, we're swimming up right now. We don't have a choice. Kate is hurt. He says, okay, but you're going to have to take a decompression stop for 5 minutes so that you don't get the bends. Use the flares I sent down to ward off the sharks. So they're swimming up with one of the flares and it goes out. They drop the second one, and when they light the third one, they are surrounded by 3 sharks coming at them. Third flare then goes out just as they reach their time limit for their decompression stop, and they make a break for the surface and they get there. As the guys are getting them onto the boat, a shark jumps up and bites Lisa's leg and drags her under, but she manages to fight it off and get back up. The girls get back to the boat where they're seemingly safe, until Lisa looks at her wounded hand and sees that blood is coming out of it as if she's still underwater. Because she is, and this whole last part was a hallucination because she has nitrogen narcosis and Kate did get eaten and die, and her leg is still pinned under the cage. We see the Coast Guard finally arrive and start to bring her to the surface, and she starts to realize that she hallucinated and Kate is gone, and the movie ends.